I still don't see it.
Yep.
Memorize.
Oh, count slow, 30 seconds slow.
All right, it's on.
It's the wind.
We're good. All right, I'd like to call the March 11th, 2024 Warrant and Finance meeting to order. First on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Lee texted me and he's not feeling well, so he's not here tonight. But we have everyone else here that's a full member who are voting. So, minutes of last meeting?
Minutes of the last meeting will be out to everybody that they actually were the vote that we had, and there will be complete from our first meeting, electing Phil to the second meeting, accepting with his no thank you, and doing
Seems
and
like
then
a long time ago.
that was, it seems like a long time
It's
ago,
the end of October.
but it really wasn't, and it will be all put, recorded all the time, but there will be a paper copy of everything, including tonight's meeting and our meetings with the school board. So everything will be there.
Okay. All right, moving on. In our packet today, I had Jennifer give us all the new main moderators manual. I figured that everyone would like it, well, almost everyone. And this is so this is how town meeting is run. So I thought that everyone should have that, just for information. And really, the only thing we have tonight are two articles. One of them, we had said that we would revisit and with additional information, and we missed it at the school. So that was on the foreclosure article. I believe it's Article 32 in our new warrant.
That's what the email.
Oh, I thought that was the reason why we were gonna be here tonight.
I'm sorry?
I thought that was the reason why we were gonna
But
be
that,
here.
and the mooring article changed a little bit, so, we can revisit that also, to see if we wanna change our vote, so. But to get back to Article 32, this one is like a no-brainer. It was the foreclosure article where the town used to keep the excess money from foreclosures. The Supreme Court issued a ruling that said that was considered a taking, so that was not permissible. And we thought that the selectmen had cited the wrong statute. So Jennifer asked for a.
No, I went and I checked, and
Yeah.
that night that we checked,
But
it hadn't been updated yet on the legislature's website, and then all of a sudden, after this came out, I went and checked again, and they finally updated their website.
Well, MMA gave an opinion about which statute should be cited.
Yeah, it should be 43C,
Right.
Which it is now.
which it is now, which is
yes.
correct.
So, and we had said not to pass because
Nope.
we said it, and I'm not gonna question MMA, I'm not an attorney, so, can I have a motion?
Motion to accept Article 34 as it's written.
32.
Article
Where'd you get
32.
Yeah, it's 32, because
They changed it?
changed some of the numbers,
You
yeah.
have a new warrant.
A new one. All right, Article
Page
32.
28.
I guess I should read it before I open my mouth, huh?
Oh, it's also the sheet here.
It's almost,
So it's
yeah.
in the packet.
And you withdraw your original
Okay.
motion?
Motion to accept as written.
Second?
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, the second article, I believe, is 7. Is it 7 or 8? For the,
Mooring.
For the mooring, yeah.
It is Article 7. Yeah.
What page?
19. Page 19.
Okay, and she also gave us a hard copy separate, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait a minute, please.
Here.
So the way this is written, because Article 7 is in the front of the packet as well, Roman numeral 7, and now this is under Article 15, and then we have,
No,
well, I don't
The
understand.
Article 15, that is a text from a land use ordinance.
Article 7, right here,
That's
Joyce.
in the
Yeah.
floodplain.
Yeah,
This
or
up
floodplain,
here.
whatever it is, but
And
that's,
anything above here.
Yeah, I
is-
know what that is, but what I'm saying,
they need to learn how to indent.
yeah, it would be helpful.
It
Not
is,
only-
it is a mess to read.
It's a mess to read, but also, in here, we have, what does this say? Article what? 7.
That's in the, ordinance for the floodplain.
That's fine,
And
but
then
it's
that's-
Article 7,
but then
and
they
this is
have-
Article 7.
I know, but then they have an Article 8,
Yes, okay.
just after I 7 over here. But that is in the text of the floodplain, so it has nothing to do with it.
I know that's what you're saying, but I'm saying for Joe Average Q sitting there, why am I voting on Article 7 again? I think it's a mess, that's all.
They need to learn how to indent.
Well, they use Roman numerals on anything that was part of an article, and then regular numbers on articles.
Except when they don't.
Except when they don't.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's clear as mud, now we can
that-
go on to
that's
Article
what,
7 if we
okay.
can find it, yeah.
Yeah.
So. Well, let's start with a motion and a second first, and then we'll have our discussion.
All right, motion to accept as written.
A second? Okay, all right. So now,
You want discussion?
yeah.
Now, it's my understanding that this is a brand-new ordinance, so there's nothing being revised, correct?
Correct.
So then, why do we have strikeouts and lineouts and underlines?
They revised the,
Yeah, but the only thing that you're presenting to, you're not revising a current ordinance, you're presenting a brand-new ordinance, so there should be no lineouts or,
Jennifer did it this way, so we would know what had changed from the prior thing they gave us.
Okay.
That's why.
Look at the ordinance.
okay then.
So if you look at.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense for that to be what you're presenting to the general public, because this is a brand-new ordinance.
And
But what
if
you're
you look,
presenting to the
if you
general
look at the
public.
warrant, are there any strikeouts in
No,
there?
No.
no.
So if you look
Yeah,
at.
Yeah, there is.
No.
Yeah,
7.1, you got anchor struck out.
10.
And then 7.14, you got strike out the
Yeah.
whole sentence.
Yeah, you might be looking at the old
I
No,
think,
this
one.
is,
I don't
this is,
think
What was
Going
just
to the
handed?
new
There's
one.
not, in the warrant itself, there's not.
It's not there in the warrant?
Copy,
Right.
in
Oh,
the
for
physical
sure, okay.
copy, there are.
All right, I haven't looked at that.
Now you see what happens when someone gets here late.
I didn't get here late. I walked in right as the bell rang.
So there are no strikeouts.
Oh, okay, in that
In
copy.
what's.
I'm
gonna
looking
be-
at this one then. All right,
if you look at
This
the
is
one
showing
that
you
does
what they
not
changed
say draft on it or have a date on it.
fine. Then I retract that.
But even the watermark is 3-6 changes.
Yeah.
And Jennifer wanted to make sure that we knew exactly what had been changed, taken out.
Oh, okay. Well, I was at the
whatever.
meeting and I heard that, so that was okay.
So
Why
that's,
is there no definition for the words affix and secure. I'm not even sure that they really,
I'm not sure.
There was a lot of debate actually with, as far as the public.
Yeah,
And what I looked at, in actuality, seemed to me like there was a 50-50 type of situation.
I agree with 100%.
Even though they did a raising of hands and all that, there were
Yeah.
more people here for it than against it. So I'm looking at this article as causing controversy within the citizenship of Acton. So, and once again, you look at something that Charlie had brought up, or had made me more aware of, is actually your property only goes to the high water mark. Okay, so you have really no say-so of what's in the water beyond that.
well, see, that's one of the funny things, under whatever it is, Title 38 or whatever it is, it grants the authority to the town to create this ordinance and have, and so in this ordinance, although you have no fee ownership of that water or the ground under that water, it's granting the town the authority to go and stipulate, distance out from the shore from that property, that you
Right.
can have a say in as far as whether or not someone has permission to actually moor there.
But who does have the authority? The town owns that lake and the
No,
water.
the state
no,
owns
no,
the
no,
water.
Okay.
The state owns everything from the high water mark.
And the
The
state will tell you, the
citizenry
citizens of the state.
owns the water.
The
So the
citizens
state's
of the
granting the
state.
towns the ability to do an ordinance to tell people who don't own it that they can moor a boat there.
That they can give
That
permission,
they
You
can,
have to have permission from the landowner.
right, from the property owner.
that they can establish criteria over who can moor and who can't moor in that particular region.
And the argument from the public that struck me the most was the gentleman that was talking, it sounded to me like his property and his neighbor's property were at a 90 degree. So he owns 200 feet this way, this guy owns 200 feet this way, or can, do some kind of,
Could
give him
happen.
permission.
Yeah,
So the overlap there would be an issue. And I think that, I may be wrong, but the selectmen will, well, like, you guys have to work that out yourselves. So what good is the ordinance?
what you're saying, we were sitting aside of each other, and that was one of the most strongest points that came up.
Correct.
And I got home and I looked at the cove that I live in. Okay, I got 100 feet here, I've got 100 feet here. My neighbor's got 25 feet, these guys have about 80 feet, and this guy's got 200 feet going all the way around. You tell me where these three houses are gonna have their
Ability to have a
Ability.
mooring.
to have it. And the other thing you forget is that you can't be in the traffic,
Mhm.
you gotta have that 200 feet.
And they also took out the 50, one every 50 feet.
And it kicks out the one at every,
That's come out.
Yeah, but that had to come out. That
Yeah.
would have made it impossible for some people.
For people like, let's say, for example, in Leslie's neighborhood,
It was completely unreasonable.
I have
Well-
2 questions. Who can enforce this?
The
Harbor
the
master.
harbor
town,
The
master.
harbor
the harbor
master,
master of the town, which is going to be the code enforcement officer.
which
Is
is,
the code
is
enforcement?
supposed to be an unstipend duty.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be incorporated in his current salary.
Why-
So there's no extra money.
Why was this created in the first place?
Situations
the-
happen,
the,
Leslie.
Yeah, but we were told situations have happened, we haven't been given, is it an instance where they've gotten 2 phone calls in the past 20 years? Is it a situation where there's multiple people calling? People calling I don't see as being enough information to warrant rushing into an ordinance that's not really thought through very well. I believe that bad law is worse than no law.
I think this is gonna create a whole lot of problems.
Well-
A lot more phone calls than that we're getting, and an impossible enforcement.
The,
You know, it's a nightmare.
All you
The
gotta
other-
do
the
is
other
look, all
thing-
you gotta do is look at what happened Wednesday night and the controversy there.
look at, because you're better at explaining this one than I am. When it was, the one right of way, 15 people had,
Yeah, over,
on Great East, or
Yeah.
Wilson.
no, it's on, well, yeah, well, there was 19 on Wilson.
Right.
There's like 8 or 9 on
Great East.
Great East that all share a small right of way.
They're backlight lots, okay, to start with. They're back lots.
Access to the lake, you mean?
And they have to the lake.
Yeah, so some of them are shared, you know, like the one on Stewart Drive is it's a common area for everyone in the subdivision.
And
So
the
they all own it.
common fee is because everybody pays, they divide
They
whatever
don't
the
actually,
tax
it's not
is.
on the tax, it's not on the tax rolls.
Well, they're supposed to.
It's not.
If it's a common fee, everybody pays. If it's a owner fee, one person pays. You pay, and you just say
So
no.
how are you gonna apply this in that situation where there's 8 people or 9 people that have rights to the same piece of water?
We don't know. It
Well,
hasn't been
That's a good
addressed.
question.
That lady,
And I
how
don't-
long
Oh, yeah,
did
this
she
is,
talk?
this is really.
And not only that is, I have rights to the water, so I can put a mooring in there. 8 people putting a mooring in whatever amount of space there is, it's not feasible.
I foresee the Wild West.
How many,
And the selectmen say, well, we're not gonna get involved with it, but they have gotten involved with it just by the sheer
By
fact that
creating this.
they've regulated it.
By putting the fees on it.
It's,
The-
because you say you're not liable, doesn't make you not liable.
Right.
Or non-responsible.
And
Well, it didn't say that they're not liable.
It said they
it
won't
do-
get,
it does say,
Is that what
They
it
wouldn't
says?
get involved in that situation.
Nothing in this ordinance shall obligate the town to adjudicate or determine the scope of individual easement rights. It doesn't say that they're not liable, it just says that they're not gonna
they're
get
not gonna
involved
get in the
with
middle of it.
settling your personal disputes.
but
That
do
they
you think
created by
that,
writing this.
do you think that
That's a whole
they're
different
not
issue.
gonna get dragged in?
Oh, most certainly they would, you always go for the
To say,
deepest pocket.
hey, you said, you know, this says
Mhm.
what we can do. Now, you're not getting involved, you know, because you've stuck your finger in?
Oh, no, I happen to agree with you, I think it's gonna
And
be.
then their involvement goes beyond that, because the people can't come to an agreement and X amount of moorings going in that one space. It's a violation of this ordinance, so they have fines for all that type of situation.
Right, and
The town isn't.
who makes the determination what's right and what's not?
My question with these right of ways, they usually don't have more than a few feet of water frontage, right?
What do you?
It depends. It all varies, I mean,
Okay. Well, if you've only got 20-foot right of way,
Yeah. Oh, right away?
how are you gonna put a mooring inside
But-
of those lines?
Okay,
Anyway,
well, you can tie off the back of it, but then you're attaching it to the ground, which, I don't know if that's addressed in here or not.
but if you, don't forget this, like, I had, which I don't anymore, an 18.5 IO. I bore her, and I'm gonna have at least a good 6 or 8 feet, and she's gonna start moving around. It's not gonna be 18 feet moving around.
No,
no,
No.
3 times that.
It's gonna be, exactly, it's gonna be almost,
so,
just under 50 feet of
so
space.
if you've got a right of way that's, we'll even say it's 25 feet wide,
Right,
how are you gonna moor a boat on that and not infringe on a neighbor?
You would tie off the back of it. So
You'd have to-
you'd attach the boat to the mooring, and then you tie the back off to something on
Yeah.
land.
you have to tie it,
And you're gonna have a little bit of swing,
yeah,
but not the full circle.
but
So,
Maybe
I
we should-
personally,
Maybe there should be a line in the article about rights of way, because every lake has them.
Well,
Yes.
I think what the town is saying, they're not, that's the reason why they have that adjudication thing in there.
right,
They're saying that if you have common access, it's gonna be up to you all to figure out who's gonna have the mooring, who's gonna have access to it, where's it gonna be placed in that common area.
Well, here's a scenario.
It's a mess.
Here's a scenario for you. No one's moored any boats in front of my house, and you guys said, oh, when we're at the meeting, she said she's got 100 feet of water. Okay, I'm gonna go moor my boat there. You better ask me, because you have to get written permission. Now, if I say no, are you gonna come back at me with this? Say, wait a minute, I own that lake as much as you do, because all the citizens own the lake. So people are gonna start saying no, and it's just gonna create mayhem, you know? I think this actually comes also, this kind of thing should be in the good neighbor policy. You don't screw around with your neighbors.
Also known as common sense.
Oh, yeah, we don't know that that's not common.
This eliminates common sense.
There's no such thing as common sense anyway.
I mean, I live in, you know, where I live, I mean, we don't have problems like this. I don't know if we just play well better together than other people, I don't know.
But wait, there's one.
What's that?
So anyway, back to my question about the word secure. How do you define the word secure? If you use an anchor, is that secure in the boat?
Only if you tie it to it.
If you drop your anchor and it
Not
gets a good purchase, is that securing or no?
on a day like today.
No,
Oh,
that's
no,
not
on a
so.
day like today, you need a couple anchors.
Right, it's subjective. An anchor's temporary anyway.
Okay, so you wouldn't consider that secure?
No.
Okay.
Having been
I
on a
would-
boat with an anchor and being pulled all over the place, no.
I wouldn't consider anchoring a mooring.
No,
A
no, no.
mooring is, I mean, that's something that's.
It's a fixed block
You've got a
Well-
fixed block under the water
and a buoy.
and somebody
tie
jumps
off.
down and, you know.
Until someone goes.
Next question I had that was raised on that meeting was, the gentleman had mentioned, although I don't necessarily agree or disagree with what he said about a cost to the town. Jason said there wouldn't be a cost, but actually, if you're gonna be making him pull a boat, which sounds like he already does that with his truck, and it sounds as though, will his insurance cover him pulling a trailer as opposed to just driving his own vehicle on town time? And if not, then there's a cost to the town. Town's gonna have to provide some type of vehicle for the CEO to be able to pull this boat.
The other part of that is this stipend-free duty done during normal business hours?
Yeah.
Right, so you
Yes.
have things that happen after 4 o'clock. He's just not gonna
Okay,
accept the call.
so then does that mean that you're taking away from his time as CEO?
Yes,
Yes,
Well, then you're paying for that too,
yes,
indirectly.
yes.
If he's doing that while he's getting paid, in effect, to be a CEO at the same time, even though he's not getting paid to be a harbor master at the
Well,
same
they're
time.
calling it an
then you're
extra
paying for it.
duty. It's an extra duty for him to do.
Right, but it's taking away from his actual job where he's
They-
needed to be a
and-
CEO.
but my point is that the town is gonna have to provide him a vehicle now.
And they've already
Although
said
we
no to
just took
that.
that out, and now we're
Right.
gonna have to put it back in if we're gonna have this.
So then the question, right,
Right, it's
you're,
not happening this year,
No.
or it would have to happen at a special town meeting.
Well, if I was the
Because-
CEO, I would just park my truck and I'd say, well, get the boat there then.
So,
Well,
that's between them.
Right,
That's
right.
not,
You know,
that's not, has nothing to do with us.
No, I realize that.
No, but it's interesting.
Oh,
the way this whole thing is written, though,
Stir the pot.
just Article 2, purpose. This article is enacted to ensure mooring installations, use and maintenance does not impair the public's health, safety and welfare. Safety, okay. Welfare, okay. Health? What, I mean, are we gonna take that to say, well, you know, they may dirty the water and
Well, that's,
whatever? I mean, I
This
think
is degraded water quality.
that's a different thing. It's, again, written too soon, too fast, I believe.
I think that the conversation that stemmed from that was the fact of somebody having a houseboat and that the waste that was produced by people on a houseboat was being pumped right into the lake.
Yeah,
So will that affect the health of not only the lake, but people who swim in the lake?
Everybody.
Everybody.
Right.
Don't forget.
I
Some
don't read, I don't
people
read that
still-
sentence as having anything to do with the boat. I read that sentence as what you're using as your mooring block. That's what I read that sentence
Right,
as.
the
Say that
mooring
again,
installation.
please.
That sentence that you just read
Yeah,
has nothing to do with the boat. Has
Right.
everything to do with your mooring. And what are you using as a mooring?
Mhm.
Maybe you
Okay.
have to come to the town and say, this is what I'm using for my mooring.
okay.
So instead of putting an old V8 in the water that's still full of oil,
It would be secure.
which people do in the ocean plenty often.
Yeah. A lot of
That's-
pollution, but the
that's-
boat's not gonna go
But
anywhere.
both
I think DEP
That's
might
how I'm
have to
reading
say
that
about
sentence.
that.
Nothing to do with a boat.
You're right, you're
Well, what
right.
about the use of the mooring?
Use and maintenance.
The
Oh,
subject
you have
is the
to
mooring,
change.
Mhm.
but the use of the mooring, which could be that houseboat, someone
could mean
turn
anything.
over the
That
gunnels.
can mean anything, the way that's worded.
Yeah,
I'd like to interject something at this point. Joyce and I both were on the planning board for many, many years. And so we've had just a little bit of experience in writing ordinances.
Yeah.
And writing ordinances are very difficult and time consuming, and you have to really carefully think about every word you use.
mhm.
Now, we used to have workshops where that was all we did was go over ordinances that we thought we needed to change, ordinances that we were told by the state needed to be changed, and new ordinances that we thought might be necessary.
Needed to be
Um,
included.
I am not a person who believes in overregulation. With all of that in mind, I think that having one public hearing to get people's ideas and a couple of meetings to go over an ordinance of such an impact is not sufficient. I mean, we're all looking at different things as being problems. There was a public hearing where, from what I could see in watching the meeting, half of the people wanted it, half of them didn't. This needs more discussion. This needs more work and more research, in my view.
In going with what Leslie said, and we were two women on the board, okay? And we did have another lady, Yoli, who had many years' experience on the board. We wrote one ordinance by order of the state that we had to write
3 times.
3 times. That meant it came back for 3 town meetings. We could not put it forward. It was,
Well, we put it forward, but we had to change
We had
it
to
because we
change it.
didn't
We-
get it right.
we didn't get it right 3 times. And, you know, what does the word must mean? What does the word shall mean?
And what does the word may mean?
And what does the word may mean?
Well-
That's where you don't think you're getting into anything, but you are getting into
Oh,
it.
legally you are, because
Yeah,
the first 2 are
absolutely.
obligatory and the latter one is permissive.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you want a gray area?
Well, that's what the permissive is.
Well,
Yeah.
I know that, but,
But-
in looking at this, do you want gray area or do you want it cut and dry? I don't think we've had enough discussion to know what we really want.
I happen to agree with you on that point, but in respect of anyone's experience writing ordinances, there is no such thing as a perfect ordinance.
Right.
First time, second time, or third time. They will always be scenarios that anyone will come up with at a later date that will dictate the necessity of the revision.
Mhm.
So I happen to think that this is rushed, and it probably does need some polishing before it's ready for prime time. But I wouldn't expect this to be perfect, and I don't I also don't like overregulation, but I don't think you can be too restrictive. Did I word that right?
No,
I think you can be too restrictive. I'm not sure that that's necessarily what you want in an ordinance, because there's always gray areas. There's always exceptions to the rule, and I don't think any ordinance can cover all of those exceptions.
No, they can, and you're right, Charlie, they can't, but when you have half of a room disagreeing with the other half, more work needs to be done.
Well, I happen to agree with you, and I think what the board is looking for is they're hoping that that'll be determined at the town meeting, and they can go and polish this later. I'm not sure that that's the way to go and establish an ordinance.
Just take
I
it to vote.
personally don't.
Oh, yeah, I think, I think that's exactly,
having dealt with federal regulations for many years in different capacities, no matter how well something's written, there will be all kinds of interpretation based on the person's motive that's reading it.
Right.
Hmm?
That's never gonna go away, so.
Let's try to get it better than 50-50.
Yeah,
Well, that's all, yeah, to me, it's beyond that, the whole thing is pointless.
Yeah, so, all right.
I think Charlie's point was,
my point.
well, your opinion was, I think that was pretty much what was said. Would you agree with that, Ray? You were at the meeting that I was.
But there was other, that, other things, I think those were the major points.
Yeah,
that were being
yeah,
made.
you know, we can see what they're gonna say at town meeting, and if we have to polish it, we can do it next year. But do we wanna go forward with, if we have to polish it?
Well, I mean, that's not what we're here to decide. We're here to advise the public whether we think that this should pass or not.
Exactly,
So,
that's what.
all right, anyone have anything else they have a burning desire to say before we vote? All in favor of this ordinance going forward, or passing? All against? Ought not pass. Okay.
06.
All right,
No, 6-0 ought not pass.
yeah, yeah. I knew that.
I like old school math, six
So-
nothing.
I-
0-6, they lose.
I put 6.
Well, I mean, that's
Yeah.
what you're saying, ought not pass, and
Yeah.
6-0, is that what that?
All right, so at this point, I believe we are done with our budget work. I'd like to thank everyone.
We have the school,
What's that?
did we have a school
We
meeting yet?
did the voting.
We did the
We
voting,
have
but
a public hearing, but
we had the
that's it.
public hearing and that's.
Um,
And 26.
26.
Yeah.
Public.
So, but I wanted to thank everyone for everyone's hard work. I felt that we had a much better collaboration with the Board of Selectmen this year. And if anyone wants to shoot me an email, letting me know what they think could be better for next year, I'm certainly happy to share that with the Board of Selectmen, and we certainly next year will meet. If we don't meet again, if there's no special town meetings by the end of June, we won't be meeting again unless there is one. So.
And
it
I
was a
would remind
pleasure.
people, Leslie, for a minute,
Mhm.
that Leslie's term is up. So call your neighbors, call your friends, call everybody, be at the town meeting.
Yep.
And when it comes time to vote, get her back. Bring her back in,
Yes.
bring her back in.
I've got a lot of things that I've been given some thoughts about to make it easier and more transparent for us for
Bring her
next
back in.
year. That if I am reelected, I'll be looking at, some things. I'll be in the Board of Selectmen meeting on Wednesday, to just update the selectmen about what happened tonight. And also, I'd like to have them continue to send us month-end reports, even though our budget work is done. But I think it's important that we see the continuation until the end of the year. And anything that might be pertinent, I think we should be getting and asking for.
Is that until the end of June?
June.
End of June.
And what happens after that?
What happens after that, there will be, some of us are up for reelection,
Mhm.
and
Do you think that the information should
it
continue?
is, yeah, it'll still continue, yeah.
Should continue to whoever is on the
Oh, okay.
Warrant and Finance.
So, I mean, in that way, whoever is on the board will have a jump start for year-end information, because
Yeah.
we always.
That's really
do the
important, I
year-end.
think that's over the years.
It's
It's
so
everything-
important.
Everything that's been crammed in sort of like, into a small amount of time, and then
Right.
they had the deadline of the town meeting.
And then we're kind of forgotten about. And then,
forgotten about, yeah.
and then we kind of drop the ball and not ask for the information that we should be getting. And I just want to see it have come to us automatically. And if it doesn't, I'll continue to ask for it.
So then from that aspect, would you say that after the town meeting and the Warrant and Finance Committee should have a meeting shortly thereafter so that they can determine who the chair, vice chair, and all that should be? So that way they know who to send these.
Well, it should be going all from WF1 to WFA, and send it, email on all of this stuff. It
Just
should be
automatically.
Automatically going.
Yeah.
Well, then, after town meeting, we
Yeah.
have to meet once and elect officers.
Yeah, we can,
Yeah, we never used to do that, we would wait till
Mm-hmm.
September,
Wait,
October,
yeah.
November,
but if,
but
But
this
if
is,
we've already got the board,
but, if we have,
But this is
pretty
a
much
great
the same
idea.
board, we certainly can go ahead and do that, and, if I'm not reelected, John, you'd be the one calling the meeting.
John, find out where
Is it
that
really
light
John
switch
Clancy?
is.
Yeah.
Find out where that light switch
If I'm
is.
reelected, then I would do it as chair, so, but if I'm
Yeah.
not, then there would, at June
Yep.
30th, there would
That's
be
fine.
no chair, so that would be to go to the vice
And
chair.
I
Looks like
request
you're
that
feeling that
Charlie,
hook now. Huh?
Charlie does not volunteer me for anything when I'm not here, so. Okay, that's
So,
all I ask,
I think your terms are up too,
us two, yeah.
yeah, so it's the three of us.
So now, when will that happen, in June?
I
Town
believe,
meeting.
yeah.
At the
No,
town
No,
meeting.
no.
not a town
no,
meeting.
no.
At the town meeting,
This one in April?
yeah,
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, all
Oh,
right,
I thought that was just strictly gonna be on the warrant.
no,
No, that's the town meeting.
no.
yeah.
That's why anybody running for selectmen, the papers are available. And you just need 25 signatures. So anybody who really wants to get into it,
Don't they have to be turned in, how are they gonna do that if the town meeting's on the 6th? Usually they give you to like April 15th to turn in your nomination paper.
no, now you've got to do it now. Now you got to do it.
They still do early April,
Yeah,
so.
There you go, Charlie.
yeah, still do early.
I put in
Yeah.
John with no H, I fired him.
But
there, so-
if he's
What's that?
confused about it,
Don't worry
let's
about it.
nominate him. Did you hear?
No,
If you're confused about it, let's nominate him.
Who?
You know,
John?
no.
Sure.
Charlie.
I'm not,
What?
Charlie, there are 2 seats open for selectmen.
are there?
Yes,
One,
Tom's
two.
Is
in.
Tom leaving?
No,
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 no, he took his.
but his
papers
term's
last
up.
week.
Oh,
That's all. There are 2
You
seats,
turned the
we
papers
could
over.
put the,
He took them all.
let's just get these 2 going, you know? You and John, Phil.
my days of glory in politics came to a crashing end last, what was it, June?
You did well,
You
Did
did
well.
well. Yeah.
Well isn't good enough.
so,
Oh.
anything else?
Yeah,
Considering that.
are there any MMA courses that the board members would be eligible to attend or
No,
useful?
no.
I've gone
I
to
called
the
them, I'll
last
let you.
3 MMA conferences, which is in the beginning of October.
That are geared towards budget or finance,
They
warrants,
do,
et cetera.
They do all the different classes that you can,
Because I know when I was on the planning board in years, in a different life, there was ones geared just for planning board.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and they still do that.
Okay,
For
but
planning
is there
board.
one geared just for this?
You know, I haven't really seen anything that
No.
interested me. There are lots of classes. You can, anyone who is an elected official can, have an account through MMA and, the only thing, and see what classes there are or whatever. They're still doing a lot of Zoom stuff.
What is the newspaper name?
Reporter.
No, it's
MMA.
Town and Country.
Oh,
I
Town
think.
and Country.
But if you go on the MMA site and try to set up an account, you can do, because I have one and I can go in and look at a lot of stuff.
We
Oh, so
went
you can
to-
look, because otherwise it's a firewall, and
Yeah,
unless
can
you have
do
an
that.
account, you can't do anything.
Yeah, and you can have get an account.
Oh, really? Okay.
You're an elected official.
So I could have been doing some good reading.
You could have.
Well, when Leslie and I went to a couple together to the annual conference, and the way the days were split
I
up
don't get
were
out enough.
classes on this, classes on that, classes on, you name it, it was there. And as good as those were, some of them, there were other things that you learned were available to a municipality,
The vendors.
the vendors. And you could learn as much with those guys
Hmm?
as anything else.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
mean-
there's attorneys there, there's
The
engineers
attorney.
there, there's banks there, there's,
You name
I
it.
mean, I got more information really from the vendors
Yeah.
than I did from going to the classes.
Yeah.
And I've been to the last 3.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.